Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. I am back with you today to share another one of my favorite joint-friendly recipes. This one is a little bit special. It's something I kind of like to do on the weekends. Freezes really well, and you can also just pop it out of your freezer and into the toaster for a weekday treat as well. And it is autoimmune friendly waffles. So before we get started, though, I'm going to introduce myself for those of you who are new to my community and new to me. My name is Jessica Melnick. I am a registered holistic nutritionist, the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method, the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions Group, and I help both women and men with various forms of arthritis get back to living life the way they choose to, not the way they have to. So one of the main ways that we do that is by what we choose to eat and what we choose to avoid. So, like I said, I'm sharing one of my favorite waffle recipes with you today. It is a grain-free, gluten-free, legume-free, egg-free waffle that is friendly for anybody. So, I'm going to talk about some of the main ingredients, and I will be posting the link for the recipe below this post and in my YouTube channel as well. So you'll be able to access that really easily. Now, for those of you who are in my community or who have been trying gluten-free recipes, or maybe you have a sensitivity or an intolerance to eggs, like a lot of us do, it can be really hard to find really yummy recipes, things that can replace bread-like things or baking type items in our diet. And sometimes we just want to have that yummy carb fix that is hard to recreate if you're not using regular wheat flour or eggs. So this recipe is one of my absolute favorites because it's super simple to make. It uses really simple and straightforward ingredients. There's no fancy techniques needed at all. And it turns out for me every time, and it freezes really well. So it makes a large batch. These waffles are really filling. So I don't recommend eating a ton of them because you will be really full, but they are really yummy and satisfying. And like I said, they freeze well. You can literally freeze them individually in as like a Ziploc bag or however else you freeze things. And you can just bring them out, pop them in your toaster, and you can heat them up that way. It works amazingly well. So the main ingredient in these waffles is cassava flour. So I have talked about cassava flour before with some of my other recipes. It's something that is actually new to me in just the last few years or so. I had no idea this flour existed. I didn't even know what cassava was. So for those of you who aren't familiar with cassava flour specifically is a gluten-free flour alternative that is made by grating and drying the fibrous root of the cassava. So the cassava root, which is otherwise known as yucca. Now, this is a popular plant that is also a valuable source of nutrition for people in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. So that's why it's probably not as commonly known of in North America because we don't really grow it here. So the one thing though that I have learned through experimenting with cassava flours is that you're going to want to choose brands that use younger cassava roots because the flours can really vary. If you use flour that's made from older roots, it can completely change the texture of the good that you are baking. So I really recommend using Otto's brand. It's OTTO apostrophe S. No, I am not affiliated with them. I just know through experience using their flour and other cassava flours that they are really good quality and it works much better. A lot of the cassava flour recipes you'll find online will call for Otto's brand or Anthony's brand. I haven't used Anthony's myself, but it is also spoken really highly of. So I would recommend using those brands for this recipe. I used Otto's for this recipe in particular. Now, if you're like, where would I even find cassava flour? A lot of health food stores will sell it. Depending where you are in the world, it can be pricey. A little bit does go a long way, though. Like I said, you're using a fair amount in this batch, but it makes a big recipe. So you can also find this online. I find in the States, thrivemarket.com. You do need a membership to use that site, but they have amazing products on there. They would likely have it, or shopaip.com. In Canada, if you go to naturamarket.ca, you will find some there as well. So I often either order it online. I've also bought it from my local health food store. You could even ask your health food store if they would order it in, depending on where you live, or how big your health food store is. That might be a possibility as well. So that is the easiest places to find it. I'm sure Amazon has it too, because they seem to have everything. So not hard to find. You might just have to order it instead of just picking it up at a store. I haven't seen it in any like regular grocery stores myself. So cassava flour also is exceptionally good for people with digestive issues. So not just people who can't have gluten, or nut flours, or legume flours, or gluten-free grain flours. So like I said, it is grain-free. It comes from a root. So it is paleo friendly. And for those of us who have sensitive digestive systems, it is a really lovely flour to use. It's very easy on digestion. So it's actually not very high in fiber, protein, or healthy fats. It is quite high in carbohydrates, but it's actually lower in calories when you compare it with traditional wheat flours. So that's a nice feature as well. One thing is, it is a good source of vitamin C, which is an important antioxidant, which is tied to many things like cancer prevention, eye health, skin health, and of course, immune boosting. So it's got some good nutritional benefits as well, in addition to being a great flour alternative. Another flour that is found in this recipe is arrowroot flour. So I'm sure this one is a little more common. You guys have probably heard of arrowroot flour. I know that when my sister was a baby, and I'm sure when I was a baby, the arrowroot cookies, those digestive cookies, were made out of arrowroot flour. And again, the arrowroot flour is gluten-free, grain-free, legume-free, nut-free flour. It is super easy on the digestive system. It can ease constipation and diarrhea, or other IBS symptoms in general. So if you have any type of bowel issues, this is a great flour for you. It also it comes from a tuberous root of a perennial tropical herb plant. I am going to say this incorrectly because don't know Latin, but it looks like it's called Maranta arundinacea. So for those of you who like to know specifics, that's about as specific as I'm going to get. So like cassava flour, comes from a root, and excellent for digestion. So again, where do you find arrowroot flour? Sometimes known as arrowroot powder. You can find this in a lot of health food stores. It's a little more easy to find than cassava flour. You can order it online. A good brand, also not affiliated with them, but I use them. It's a good quality, is Bob's Red Mill. My health food store actually has its own kind of personal branded flours as well. So sometimes I can find it in bulk and get it there. So check out your local health food store, or order some online. It's great. I find it's like a great binder when you're using gluten-free recipes, or especially what I use with my clients, are paleo autoimmune protocol. So we are gluten-free, we're grain-free, legume-free, egg-free, all these things. I know it sounds a little overwhelming, but trust me, once you get started, it's not hard to stick to these things. So it is a great kind of binder when you're using various gluten-free flours. It's very soft and silky and delicate. It really holds a baked good together. So you'll often find it in smaller amounts mixed in with other grain-free flours to kind of hold things all together. So I hope that gave you guys some helpful information about different paleo flours that you can use that are really easy on digestion, and by proxy, really good for your joints as well. That can be really good part of your joint friendly diet. So check out this recipe. Let me know if you tried it out. This is not my own recipe, so I'm going to share the link to the website where it's from, and maybe give it a try this weekend if that for something special. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'll be back next week. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Take care.